You are here with By the Cover. Today I'll be reviewing Skeleton Crew by Stephen King. This book was 632 pages and took me 4 days to read. I would rate this one a 4.3 out of 10. This review may contain spoilers, so if you do not want to hear those, click off now. The synopsis: Stephen King delivers a collection of 22 stories, including novellas, short stories, and poems. It features a mixture of horror, sci-fi, and dark fantasy. The anthology showcases mature varied tales, ranging from supernatural horror to psychological dread and dark humor. Skeleton Crew for me is a mixed bag. It has some truly iconic stories contained within it. However, I personally did not enjoy a lot of these stories, which brought the overall average of the collection down by quite a bit. In addition, I think the good stories in this collection have faults, which keep the ratings of the ones I did like a bit less than is typical with King's short story collections that I have read previously. If you would like to know my rating for each of these stories, check the description of this video. Here are my top 5 favorite stories in this collection. Nona was my favorite story, primarily because of the imagery and the way that it was written. The story in and of itself is pretty good, but King's delivery takes it over the top. Next up is The Mist, a truly iconic novella about a mysterious mist descending on a small town. Survivors are forced to take refuge in a supermarket. Supernatural horrors are not the only horrors the group has to battle. This story is bleak. The movie adaptation is even bleaker. Both are excellent. My third favorite story is Survivor Type, about a man stranded on an island, surviving by whatever means are necessary. This one was funny as well as disturbing. Next up is The Raft, also an iconic story with imagery that will stick with you. It is a disturbing story rooted in the horror genre. My enjoyment of this one was a bit lessened because it leaned heavily on references from an old show called The Cisco Kid. Since I've never seen this show and I have no connection to it, those portions of the story just came off as annoying to me. My fifth favorite story was Word Processor of the Gods. I won't give anything away about the story, but I found it entertaining and it was a cool idea. Aside from my top 5, I also think that there were other iconic stories in this collection. The Monkey has great imagery with the creepy toy monkeys, and a very intriguing premise for the plot. I did not think the story was as good as the movie, which I absolutely loved, but it is still iconic. The imagery is iconic, and it sticks with you. The Jaunt explores King's sci-fi roots, but also adds some great horror elements into the story as well. I found the ending very disturbing. It has also stuck with me through the years. I found the first Milkman story the most intriguing. One thing I love about King is the way he can deliver the most awful things happening in either pleasant or humorous ways, and this story delivers in that area. I also liked Uncle Otto's Truck. This is another haunted car story similar to Christine. This concept has been done previously, and I also found it a bit long, but overall a decent story. Mrs. Todd's Shortcut was a decent story that was fun to read, still a bit lengthy as well though. The Wedding Gig I found to be entertaining, if nothing else. I think Gramma is also an intriguing story for the right audience. It didn't do much for me personally, but it's another story where the imagery has stuck with me, and it does leave an impression. Those were the highlights of the book for me. The rest of the collection I felt was littered with filler. King includes some poems, one written for his son Owen. These did nothing for me personally. Here There Be Tygers, The Ballad of the Flexible Bullet, and The Reach were the worst stories in the collection in my opinion. The last 2 stories of the book ramble on and are just not interesting. Here There Be Tygers had no point, no atmosphere, and no connection to the characters. I found the plot really weak. Cain Rose Up, while I don't believe it's a bad story, it had subject matter similar to Rage. I don't understand why King would pull Rage from publication, which had far less violence and was an overall much more interesting story, and leave Cain Rose Up in publication. It seems hypocritical to me. Percentage-wise, around 32% of the stories were good, 23% of the stories were okay or slightly above okay, and 45% of the stories were just not good. I believe Skeleton Crew is full of some iconic moments, but the sum of the parts really drags down the rating for this collection. I do think this is a much more varied collection genre-wise for King, so if you like variety, this collection may appeal to you. For me, it was a weaker entry. That's about it. We'll catch you later.